Well, definitely. But I don't think that for me was a shock. You could see it coming. I would say in the British democratic system, they call them shadow ministers. And so a shadow minister is somebody who plays a role in opposition that somebody will play while in government. And he was the shadow minister for the MPP when they were in opposition. And we also had a shocker during the period of the Kufuor period, when we had Dr. Kofi Kunedu-Apreku playing that same role, but was not given the position. Rather, first time went to Yao Safo-Mafo. And if you look at the actions and the posture of the party leadership prior to this primary, it was for Michael Berfi, the Free Zones board boss. So ultimately, it also meant that the party was gravitating towards a certain direction. And it happens in every democracy. You'll find it in the Trump administration, you'll find it whether it's for Boris Johnson, etc. It's a normal thing in a democracy. But for us, the ordinary people, those who tend to work with the politicians and the public, by the general observation, we seem to identify with certain people because of their contribution at the national level.
Yeah.
But this is how it works in our democracy. If you don't align yourself well with the party executives in your constituency, and this also will transition or trickle down to the delegates because they hold positions as other former MPs or as polling station agents, etc., then you're in big trouble. And we've seen a number of MPs, they are very vociferous at the national level in parliament on national issues, but they are terrible with their relationship with the constituents. And
the party executives.
We're talking the party executives and then the normal party foot soldiers and office holders. And if you do that, despite how big you are accountable to them when it comes to them giving you the mandate to represent the constituency. And that's where you are in trouble. It doesn't matter the number of funerals you go, because you attend funerals or outdoorings of people who are not delegates. And averagely, we were told by Evans Timapon, who is director of elections for the party, that averagely we have between 400 and 450 to about 750, that's on the average, of delegates in each constituency.
I think we've already had 560
exactly.
or so.
So we have the average of that. So 400, 450, then the highest will be, about. So if you are not accountable to that, you can share all the TVs in the world, like Obama, Vicente, Odote. So
I saw the blender.
Exactly.
We've seen the bicycle.
People share television. A television set, if it's out of date and is going out of manufacture, etc., will be around 800, 900 for a nice, cool
you even
Samsung.
Put a cost on it.
Yeah.
We've seen the cylinders. We've seen cylinders.
And you can get
it
discounted if you're buying it in bulk. So they may sell it for you 600, etc. You may share it to the delegate, they'll still not vote for you.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, the lesson it should be, because we've seen new entrants at the time they're making entry into parliament have very good relationship. By the time they wind up 2 terms, 3 terms, they are very bad in their relationship. Just because they feel they are getting too many calls, they are getting too many requests, etc. But that is what you bargain for, and you're getting it. So you have to live up to that responsibility.
Yeah, exactly.
And
you should stand somewhere, because you understand the politics. That's the politics.
You can't decide that. I've heard many MPs say that Parliament, there's nothing in it. It's a lie. There are a lot of things in it. There are a lot of...
Really?
Because,
what is in it?
You get societal accreditation and stature. You are respected more in the society than ordinary people.
You're called honorable.
Exactly.
What else?
You are able to get access to many things that ordinary people won't get.
Well, true.
Somebody may be an MD of a bank, but can't enter high commission easily.
Well, your letterhead is strong.
Exactly.
What else? What else?
And I don't know.
You still won't get a tree that produces money in your home.
If you are an entrepreneur, like Kenny Japo is an entrepreneur, he says he gets nothing, but he's an entrepreneur. So it goes with it. You cannot have everything. There's always an opportunity cost for something.
Yeah, well,
and it's not true.
Interesting. And
it's not true that the NDC is going to win in many or 90% of these places, because the election for the parliamentary candidate has been convened for the earlier seats where the MPP didn't have an MP. So we should have that clearly.
Yes,
they may win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it's not that they'll go to Otafo and go. They may inch up a bit, but
well, okay. We'll hear you. We hear you, Roland Walker. Let's talk about COVID-19. The president did address the nation yesterday. I'm sure you've seen, you probably joined in the conversation with the recoveries and the numbers, and that just happened over the weekend. Lots of reactions. Let's talk to the Ghana Health Service. We've got the Director General joining us for a brief conversation on this. Hello, good morning to you, sir.
Good
morning. Okay, Doc. So, you know, the numbers still continue to go up. First of all, I want to ask about your reaction. I'm sure you also monitored the NPP primaries and how most people absolutely did not pay attention to all the protocols, particularly the social distancing. There were lots of people not wearing the mask. Some people were, but they're still getting really close to each other. This is what we should be expecting if this is anything to go by in the December elections, which is just around the corner.
Thank you very much. I think these are behavior issues that will continue to happen. But as you are aware, I mean, the use of masks has increased. I mean, starting from where we started from. So that is what our communication and that of the media should be, to encourage more people to wear their masks and apply the 3 protocols of hand hygiene and social distancing. So we'll continue working and providing information so that at all levels, not just during the election or anything, in the market and every place, adherence is not as good as we expect. And so we are hoping that we'll continue our education for improved adherence. And now that the EI makes it compulsory, we hope that that will also encourage more people to wear. And so I really wouldn't want to just, because on my way, when I'm on my travel, I see funerals and all kinds of gatherings that people are not applying those. Even though some are, I think we can only improve it and ensure that those protocols are observed. Because once you do that, we are able to protect everybody.
I'm on your sites, the websites, you know, that gives us the updates on the COVID-19. The new cases there is 147. Our active cases, 3,596. Confirmed cases, 14,154. Recoveries/discharge is 10,473. Why do we continue to still record new cases?
Yeah, we record new cases because we still have people who have the infection, who are not protecting themselves, and they are also transmitting to us. We are also having some corporate flare-ups where institutions, where people work with somebody comes there, he gives to a few people because the protocol within the facility is not as is best. And so people are able to transmit from themselves to another. So these are the issues that we are going to deal with. That's why our approach of contact tracing and testing any household of everybody, which is not the usual, to do so that we can always be able to find the cases and continue. Otherwise, we'd have had a more exponential spread of the case, because anyone we pick means that that's the person we are able to identify, isolate, and prevent the person from spreading the virus. And so as long as people are also not abiding by the full protocols, we're still going to need some. And of course, remember that our approach has not changed of mass testing. Even though the numbers are not like before, we are not doing the sweeping, we are doing mass tests, we are doing risk group tests. If you think that there's a group here is at risk, we don't need to have a positive case, we go and test them. And so that's how we are able to identify positives within that group and are able to contain it. So as long as that's going, we hope that with time, the numbers will start coming down if people, in addition to the measures, apply the protocols that we have been talking about.
Dr. Abuaje, kindly also explain to us the recoveries/discharge.
Okay. When the disease started, way in March, the first protocol was that in any all disease that we are also scared about, we picked the best distance. That okay, let's do viral clearance. The WHO recommended that you have to do 2 negatives before anybody is discharged, because everybody's clearance and the concern was to stop the transmission, so that anybody who is positive is not able to transmit. The new evidence, after following up the case and doing more studies, that after 10 days of becoming positive, that person is not able to transmit. It's not shedding the virus. So if it's not shedding the virus, then it means that you cannot transmit to somebody. And so instead of keeping you and doing 2 negatives before we discharge you, becomes unnecessary. And so once the person crosses that threshold, you can do that. So what WHO gave 10 days for those who are asymptomatic, those who don't display any symptoms or signs, and 10 days plus 3 days of no symptoms for people who came in with symptoms like cough, fever, among other things. Now, we looked at it, looked at our own circumstances, looked at some of the local studies with that, and we adopted a 14-day protocol, so that if you took your sample on the 14th and that you are positive, then and you have no symptoms, you go to the isolation center. By the 28th, you should be able to, we will discharge you. Whether you're at home or isolation center, we have been managed in isolation center or in the treatment, of course, treatment center, that you'll be discharged. Then for further follow-up, if they need be. Those who are sick, after 14 days, if you show 3 days, consecutive days of no symptoms, no signs and symptoms, we'll also discharge you without a test. And that's how it is. And so if you look at all the people who have been in our books, who are not doing their tests, who are also preventing, who do not want to have the test, and those who are with us but they've traveled, and so we are not able to find them to do their follow-up test. They are all technically, that are also technically discharged. And that's how, if you look at it, and you are looking at the people, active cases are those people who are within that 14-day bracket, who are still observing. And that's how you have and that comes out of the total cases. And that's what you have seen, the recoveries and discharges jump up. Already we had almost 4,000 recoveries. But all those guys, people who were in that we are not able to look at, and those are the isolation centers, so many of them have been discharged. And I think it's healthy because some of them were being kept there because of the protocol, but they were really not sick and they were not a risk to anybody.
Okay, so Dr. Abuaje, we are sure that if a person is not showing any symptoms, but they have not been tested again after the 14 days, we're sure that if we let them go, they will not infect others.
They will not infect others. In fact, the studies show that the people who continue to test positive, or they're just picking dead particles or strands of the virus.
Okay.
And that's what is causing that. And this is policy. This protocol is not just in Ghana. There are many countries that are adopting it, including the entire European Union. So,
okay.
Yeah. And so the essence is we don't want to perpetuate the disease by people transmitting. And all this lockdown is all to prevent transmission. And so for countries to move away from that and adopt this policy means that we are all convinced that it's good enough to take the risk.
Dr. Abuaje, there are still people who do the tests and don't get the results. If you haven't received your result after 2 weeks, what does it mean?
I haven't received a result after 2 weeks.
Yes, Doc.
Yeah, we need to follow up. I mean, if you had a positive, I mean, we don't know you're positive. If you are positive, that's when it starts. If, let's say, your test was negative, and you haven't received was negative, it doesn't mean that you will not contract the infection. And so we need to pursue the results and find out what it is. Because if you are negative, it means that you see those who are positive and recover, they have immunity. But if your result had not come and so we don't know your status, then we cannot be sure of your distance. Subsequently, that test, if there's a need for have the test, that has to be redone.
So it is not true that if you don't hear from those who took your samples after 2 weeks, then it means the reason they haven't contacted you is because you're negative.
When you are negative, you are informed. When you are positive, you are informed. So there's nothing like if you don't hear from it means you are negative. Maybe the riskness with it, they will look for the positives is probably more higher than the negatives. But everybody is informed about their results.
Okay. Finally, sir. Okay. Finally, on stigma, we have a colleague who is recovering at the UGMC, who notified us that the persons who are due to be discharged today, for instance, their greatest fear is stigma from people at home, people at the workplace. How do we continue to fight this? How do we win the war against stigmatization?
I think we will need to talk about the fact that the disease is not because you did something wrong, that's why you got it. And that it is not a death sentence. And most importantly, this new discharge policy, we must assure people that the people who are coming out are not infectious. I think the stigma is because people feel that, oh, this person is coming to give me the disease. I think we need to continue with the education that, look, when they are discharged because they are healthy. They are just like anybody else. They are not. In fact, they are more of an asset, because if I get a very serious disease and they can take their blood and give it to me, and it helps me to recover. And so we should rather celebrate them and not stigmatize them. And I think that's what we should be doing. That we are helping. I think we need to continue that discussion to ensure that that stigma is gone, and removing the fears, and also making people also confident that they are really not a threat to anybody, and that they should be accepted just like they were before.
Dr. Patrick Kumabwaja, thank you for your time this morning. That's the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, helping us with this conversation on COVID-19. And I do hope that this has clarified a few things, Roland, because, you know, we've been worried about the recoveries and then the discharge, why we are here. It's been explained again, so hopefully we all do get it now. Stay with us. You're still watching the AM show. A little breather. We will be back with more.